Yeah, baby. Yeah. The Mac is back. Back with another video. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Junikala, and today we're checking out Vista 2 Solo Cello Legato by Performance Samples. So this was one of the 3 releases that they did simultaneously. Last time we checked out the Pacific Solo strings, which I very much liked. And yeah, this was one of the 3 simultaneous releases, and I really had to check this one out as well because I do love Vista, which is the first Vista release. And yeah, it seems like Vista 2 is in the works, and this is kind of the first released module out of it. In terms of this big picture of Vista, I thought I'd actually go to the website and try and educate myself. So basically right now, in terms of Vista 2, you can see 2 different things on the site. You can see the Solo Cello Legato, which is what we're checking out today. But there's also a page for Vista 2 Core. And these are 12, 7, 6, 5 strings. So those are the numbers of players for each seat, I presume. Exploring heavily dynamic sampling, including legatos. That's in parentheses, I believe. 5 mics, a wholly new legato approach, more emphasized use of bowing to create movement and expression, more vibrato restraint than usual PS releases. That's actually interesting. I don't have anything against the vibratos that have happened so far. They are of a certain style. They kind of, to me seem more like romantic sounding. So interested in hearing how that turns out, and it probably will be, in general speaking, more to my preference, but that very much depends on what you're writing on. Improved mercados in style of Pacific, nice. Sordino sustains with the same note repetitions. Tremolos with slower and more granular bowing speed. A new approach to shorts sampling in the form of classical shorts developed on Voyage. By the way, everything I've heard of Voyage so far has been really good. It's been in the making for a long time now. But I mean, based on the audio samples, that seems like that's the biggest performance samples release that I'm personally waiting for, because it sounds right up my alley, sort of more gritty, a lot of kind of textures and, different kind of playing noises and sounds and, everything, all that kind of granular detail and cracks and pops and those kind of things I really love. That's probably not a good description of what the library actually is, but yeah, a lot of elements of realism. They continue various versions and re-records of patches, solo string legatos, various versions recorded, all included. Okay, that's really cool if they have different types of legatos for the solos. Brass soloists. What? I thought it was going to be strings only. Solo piano, solo harp, and 2 harp ensemble. Okay, cool. So they mentioned that it was originally meant to be a string library, but then it expanded. Then they mentioned these much smaller modules recorded, which will be released first and explore sympathetic resonance legato, which is really the main thing of this Vista 2 Solo Cello Legato thing. Very much loving the concept in theory. Sounds very sensible and very cool. We'll come to that very soon. So first module, okay, this is useful information, so you know what to expect and what to buy and maybe what not to buy to save your money if you so wish. First module, Vista 2 Solo Cello Legato, which is the sympathetic resonance legato. Second module is Vista 2, Chamber Arco Essentials. Sympathetic resonance legato plus other legato approach plus some sympathetic resonance motion shorts harp. So yeah, one of the questions on my mind from a purely kind of business and marketing standpoint, and also a bit of branding, but maybe less so, is this release methodology that they are exploring. I know they did like a poll at some point in terms of what people want and how. Again, nothing against this. I'm very much, I can pretty much only comment it from a kind of business marketing standpoint after it's done. Right now, it sort of seems very scattered and sort of modular, so it's kind of difficult to piece together the big picture. But yeah, in terms of whether you would prefer to have smaller modules versus a big release that is sort of more expensive, really hard to say. I usually think giving people choice is a good thing, but even with the solo cello legato, so in terms of pricing, what the other Vista stuff is going to cost, I don't know. Maybe it's written down in the Vista 2 core page later on. Vista 2 solo cello legato will be full price after intro period, $149. So $149 for a solo cello legato. Remember, this is not only one instrument, but it's only one articulation as well. Is not a trivial amount of money. But you also have to remember that once we go into the world of boutique sample libraries, they are kind of in a world of its own. And this isn't, by the way, I wouldn't, there are companies out there who sell something like this for double, if not more of the price. Maybe not solo instruments, but there are some pretty crazy prices out there. So this is by no means, I don't mean to say that it's, blowing the bank, but it's definitely, higher than average. Depending on, so value is, part of it is subjective, and also it's relative to who you are. I don't mean that just in monetary terms, but let's say you are a professional composer and you're working on a project and what you have isn't working, and you buy the perfect solo cello legato for that project that pays you, many thousands, let's say, or a few thousand, $149 investment to make that click and work and take your work to maybe a certain next level, is a very small investment to make, and obviously you get to keep it, so you get to use it on other projects. So yeah, in that context, being a professional tool in your toolkit is, that's not crazy. However, a lot of people are not in that category. And I know Performance Samples do make custom sample libraries for other companies and individuals. So they are, in that sense, like a boutique custom, sample library developer. Obviously, this is kind of the open to the general public, general market place in terms of these releases. But yeah, normal intro price is then going to be $129. So $20 off. Loyalty intro is going to be $79. And then if you picked up Pacific Solo Strings, this is only going to be $49 to you, which is what I paid for it. But I got Pacific Solo Strings free because I bought the Pacific Ensemble during the intro price period. So yeah, it's, first of all, again, I love Performance Samples, loyalty discount style, how they do it. It's a very hefty discount, so that's like a very generous thing to do, and I think it builds trust and brand, and when it comes to your customer base, they feel like they're actually appreciated, and the more they've invested in you, the more you'll give back to them. Obviously, you're also selling more, so it's not charity, but most companies do not take this kind of loyalty discounts to this level. So I really appreciate that they do that. So $49 makes this a very different story. Still for a solo string thing for one articulation, not like a trivial amount of money for many people. But certainly, I mean, it's 1/3 of the full price that it's going to be. So yeah, this is me just kind of exploring this pricing thing, because I really don't know what to make of it in as a whole yet. But I definitely do appreciate the loyalty pricing stuff. What was I going to say before I talked about money for half an hour? So Vista 2, 12 violins, 7 violas, 6 cellos, 5 basses, and bonus instruments. Idea began as a slightly larger ensemble version of the original Vista, then expanded in terms of dynamics and articulations. What I really love about their development process is that they are very responsive to the results that they're seeing and going through. So it's not like, okay, we have this money, these players, let's book this place and do the thing, and that's what it's going to be. They do something and then they realize this works, this doesn't, let's go back in there, let's do more work and make it better. So it's like an artistic process in itself. It's not just, well, it is what it is and we'll move on. So yeah, they've gone, I mean, this has expanded, this project, as well as the other ones have. They expanded throughout the development process. So I really like that, appreciate it, and I think it will result for sure in a better product. But yeah, I mean, the scope is expanding. There's a, what's the word? Development creep, I guess. But I think they're handling it really well in terms of how it seems like mentally they're approaching it. So, results at all cost, pretty much. So, yeah. So these are recorded in the same room as many previous libraries. Vista, Oceania 1, 2, etc. So same space. And also Voyage will be, it's done in the same space as well. This library is still in post-production, so it might change. Early estimated release, no earlier than Q3. Okay, so, and probably that's gonna still push back based on, well, two things. Things usually take longer than you think, and also performance samples do end up releasing usually later rather than sooner. Cost, okay, here we go, is to be announced, but will exceed the price of Pacific Ensemble strings, considering the additional content. Yeah, so it's going to be a big boy. I think Pacific Ensemble strings full price. Let's go check it out. I think it's $5.99. Yep, $5.99 full price. So this, it's going to be definitely in the premium boutique world. So is it going to be a grand? It well could be. So even with a loyalty discount, a lot of people won't be able to get it. Pricing loyalty tab, let's have a look at that. Intro period is aimed to be extensive. Planned loyalty intro pricing for owners of Oceania 1, 2, 3, Con Moto Module Pacific Ensemble strings, Fluid Shorts 1, 2, 3, and Vista original owners. So yeah, they haven't decided on that, but it's pretty pricey gonna be. All right, cool. Now I understand a bit more about this context. Then I presume So this is kind of like interesting. They don't mention any modules individual for anything other solo. So I don't know if like solo cello is going to be the only solo instrument in this lineup. I would be a bit surprised and probably disappointed if that was the case. Okay, they do say, yeah, so in Vista 2 second module, chamber, arco, essential, sympathetic resonance, legato, plus other legato approach. So, yeah. It's probably then going to have other instruments as well. Yeah, in terms of Vista 2 articulation list, dynamic count, 12 dynamics for the legato sustains. Looks like 12 mostly. So there's a lot of stuff in here. You can go check out the website. It's pretty comprehensive. In terms of the pricing for those other modules, again, no idea. But all right, sorry for rambling a bit, but I felt like I needed to understand that a bit to comment whether the pricing of this is something I find to be sensible or reasonable, because it's kind of contextual to everything else that is going to be delivered. But it's, yeah, all in all, it's probably going to be pretty hefty. So yeah, this is all about sympathetic resonance type bow change legato. Causes more of the instrument to be resonating when the musician plays the intervals in question. Gives the musician a stronger frame of reference in terms of pitch, leading to subjectively more musicality and intonation accuracy. This is combined with unavoidable post-production process to clean up the recordings and make them more presentable, as they are not functionally usable by default, as with a more traditional session. All right. So intro price period is going to be 4 months, which is exceptionally long. I don't think any other company do them for that long. So September 16th, 2024. We did touch on the pricing already, so not going to spend on that. Instruments, only solo cello. Articulation, only legato, monophonic. Sustains with same note repetitions. 1 dynamic. Roughly an espressivo forte. So, yeah, sort of similar-ish to the Pacific solo strings as well. 1 dynamic, I'm not hot about that for a library that's $149 full price. Again, this is not, and to be clear, performance samples, even if it's only 1 dynamic, the sound is so expressive that it really doesn't sound like it. Especially the only place where I wish the dynamics that we had more dynamics would be the quieter edge. Like with Pacific solo strings, I wish that in addition to that powerful, beautiful, emotional soaring sound, would also go like, would be able to go sort of maybe the last third, or below the halfway point of the MIDI velocity, would get like a softer, soulful, kind of aching sound. That's what I was left wanting, and I'm probably going to be the case here as well. But as you go in this sort of a medium to, higher dynamic, it's certainly sounds like you get more dynamics out of it. And also, I will say that even if it's 1 dynamic, they do the low end of the dynamics still remarkably well without actually having a change in the dynamic style in the samples themselves. So whatever is there is beautifully done. But yeah, I mean, for this amount, I would love to have more scope, more dynamics, a vaster selection of the sound type, rather than being just that one. But having said that, they have been super expressive so far. So yeah, whatever is there has been Very, 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 very solid. Recorded in a hall with close, so that's 2 mics, then a section mic, Deca, Outrigger, and Ambient Mic. So this is, first of all, very comprehensive. So that's a good thing. And also, in my experience, at least with the performance samples libraries I've done, that's a new thing. So that is super extensive, certainly. I would probably prefer to have, more dynamics or like a different sound types, like a softer sound, rather than having more mics. But that's just me. 48 kilohertz, 24-bit NCW compressed, around 1.74 gigs total. So yeah, obviously light because it's one library, but pretty comprehensive. I mean, pretty sizable for just one dynamic, one library. Built for Contact 6.8.0 and above. You do need full retail version of Contact. And you download via Continuata. Continuata. I don't know if they're Italian. So if not, sorry. And if you are, I guess sorry as well for my horrible delivery. Cool. That's it. Enough talking, Marcus. And I do like that they always have a tab for library limitations, because I'm sure many people, pick up performance sample stuff and then they're like, what the hell? Like, you can't do this and that. And, if you want to go for a very specific sound, a very specific style, then there are bound to be limitations. And, if you want to expand beyond that, the library is going to just explode in the amount of work that it takes, and it will probably never be ready. And also there are some technical sacrifices or decisions that they make to improve the realism, and and those things can affect playability. So yeah. In terms of what you'll be hearing today, it is only Vista 2 Solo Cello Legato in action. I don't add any effects, no EQ, no reverb, nothing. I only have a limiter on my master bus to bring the level to a more decent level for this video. That being said, it's set to be as transparent as possible, so you should have minimal coloration or artifacts or anything on there. So, but if we do happen to clip something, I'll let you know. All right, I think that's it. This will probably be the shortest part of the video because we only have this one sound to check out, but let's get into it. I'm going to drop my own volume here because I want to work at a level where I can explore the full range of this. Yeah, in terms of the dynamics control here, I mean, I know they say there's only one dynamic, but how the mod wheel works here, I feel like there's a bit of redundancy here in the range going from the top of the second third to the bottom of the second third. It doesn't quite go fast enough, so I feel like there's a bit of dead space there, just as a note. So if you, because I would want it to kind of die out or chill, a bit faster, which is something to keep an eye on. There you can hear there's that resonance. Sounds like it's coming from the resonance chamber of the instrument itself. That's pretty obviously realism increasing. That's a detectable pitch though, so it can be. It doesn't matter. It's actually really, really good if it's like a momentary thing, but could be tough in a sustained note. There's a bit of lag obviously there, a bit of delay. I feel like here it's not as quite responsive as in the upper ranges. Really, well, I mean, first of all, really loving the sound of it. It's beautiful. You can definitely notice the what they talk about in terms of the sympathetic resonance. You can hear these sort of resonances, these kind of artifacts of the process, and it really does add to it. I really love the low end sound of this. Again, it's like really, really well done. I feel like the speed here is a bit sort of lumbering. Granted, when you actually play the cello, it does kind of work that way. I feel like it's a bit more lumbering than I would like or expect. Obviously, that's not something I would do for legato, but I just want to test the boundaries of this. That's actually really beautiful. It moves very nicely. In those interval changes, you can clearly hear the sampling from the kind of the transitional in between bits. Yeah, I mean, this is beautiful sounding. It plays very nicely. And I also like the fact that it's kind of a bit pushing against what you're doing. It's kind of telling you, ooh, I don't quite want to do that at that speed that you're giving me. Don't get me wrong, like it has responsiveness to your playing speed, and it reads it very nicely. But I love that it kind of has it seems like a real organic beast of its own. Like it's like I love when instruments tell me, okay, well, it depends on the situation, but and by the way, there is some drilling happening there outside, some construction work, so I do apologize for that. It's not me farting or shitting my pants, it is drilling. I like when an instrument has a character and a nature. Obviously not in all contexts. Sometimes I want something to do specific things and do that, but sometimes they have like quirks and qualities, and you kind of have to do things on their terms. This is not a very extreme example of that, but I like that there's a bit of that in there. It seems like it's like a real organic thing or a player. Excuse me. And then you kind of are adjusting yourself to it, and it feels more realistic, feels more organic, feels more real. Obviously this is not like the best arrangement there. Obviously going from beyond an octave jump, it's probably something not sampled, so there's a bit of abruptness going from, but I mean, that being said, that's done really well. I could actually test some of the interval jumps here. So it's an octave that he does. I mean, those are just absolutely stunning I'm testing that release button there. Okay, so it does have a sustain mode. Which I don't personally use. I just prefer to make the lines individually on all instruments, preferably in a thing that does proper legato. But that's a useful feature to have for those of you who do use that. And you know, if you have something, you can make sustains, you know, non-legato sound really, really good. That's not the issue. Especially if you're using them sort of a bit more in the background, but it's just a personal preference. I just don't enjoy them very much. You can also turn the releases off, which is interesting, and then you have length control for that. We could go through some of these mics, so I'm going to start with the close one. These are pretty, you know, on their own, pretty challenging to listen to because they're, you know, mono, so it's kind of like, sounds a bit, you know, phasey in a, well, not phasey, that's not a fair, but like collapsed in a stereo sound. This one is the close 2. Then we have SC, which I totally know what it stands for. Okay, ambient mics. I know it said on the website. Do we have to go on the website again? Let's do it. Come on, Chrome. So I'm totally not on the website right now. I'm thinking of this all by myself. Section microphone. Deca Outrigger makes sense. All right. Let's just totally not keep open that not open browser. So section mics. That's a lot quieter because it's balanced that way in the kind of default mix. All right, it's definitely fills up things nicely. Deca. Yep, very nice. Outrigger. First of all, that sounds beautiful. Now that I adjust the section mics, it shows me infinite here in the reading. Why does it do that? Oh, now it came back. It thought I pulled it down all the way, but that's what she said. But I didn't. Yeah, these outriggers. Ooh. Yeah, beautiful kind of softer sound and image there. Ambient mics. Yeah, kind of in the same vein, but definitely a bit different. Okay, cool. Then we have a box here. Oh, yeah, it says okay, default and yeah, stereo one. Cool. Yeah, then you can pan stuff as well. So yeah, like I said, if you don't like the placement of the mono signals, the close mics, then you can do stuff with that. Let's play a bit more with the full mix here. I don't quite remember where the ambient mics were. I mean, I guess we could... and we're not going to reset this. Creates a really interesting woodwind-like texture. Like sometimes, like a lot of the time, strings have these weird, interesting. Obviously, I'm playing this in a way that's not intended to be done in a traditional, realistic sense. But a lot of these in-between bits that really pair nicely with woodwinds, almost sound like woodwinds. That really sounds like a. Which one does that sound? maybe some kind of a bassoon top end. Cool. I think we'll call it at that. So overall, playability, fantastic. Sound, fantastic. So no, qualms on that front. Quite a lot of mic positions. Definitely, helpful, useful, depending on the sound you're going for. Definitely gives more flexibility. You can tune in your sound. Again, I feel like the space here sounds really beautiful for legato kind of stuff. Again, I'm not bothered at all by the reverberation of the space. That has been a bit of a known preference of mine for some of the performance sample stuff, but it doesn't come across here in the legatos. It works really nicely for those, so no issues there. Again, the dynamic aspect is like, these are sampled so expressively and soulfully that even when you have one dynamic, it still sings far more than many of the other sample libraries out there, even with multiple dynamics. But if they if most of them or all of them sound kind of half-baked or shitty or not emotional, soulful, then I'm not personally very interested in that. So definitely, like, everything that is here is absolutely fantastic, realistic, soulful, emotional. I feel like I'm channeling, actual emotion and expression and realism. But it would be just taken to a very different level if I could feel like I can go from like very quiet, sensitive playing and then, build up to this, soaring, big, powerful sound. So, and I understand that would, making this library, many times bigger, and with the approach that Jasper has at performance samples, that would make this probably a pretty colossal endeavor. So I understand they have to limit themselves. But yeah, just as a customer, as a user, I mean, this would be like, it will cover so much ground if it would also go to that softer, gentle thing. And I think I would be perfectly, maybe with this release, I feel like it could use like a middle ground as well. But with Pacific Solo Strings, I felt like, we could only have like a second softer half of the dynamic range and like a softer expression, softer sound. Here, I feel like we probably need two of them, because I didn't feel like the mid ground was quite as responsive as in Solo Strings. So yeah, I would definitely hope for that. In terms of how all of this relates to the pricing, again, this is gonna be a subjective call. It's gonna come down to you and your priorities, and obviously your monetary situation. Again, if you were to drop the full price, it's not a trivial amount for most people. But then again, you have to think about these as like professional tools. Yeah, $149 for one instrument and one articulation with one dynamic is probably a bit of a tough ask for a lot of people. But if this is like the perfect cello sound for you, then might be worthwhile grabbing, even if you are a bit more on a budget. I mean, it depends on what you're after and what you're looking for. It is a beautiful, stunning sound. I wish it could also do that quieter sensitive stuff, but it is what it is here. Anything else that I want to cover there? Not really. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Does have its, asterisks or those caveats, depending on who you are and what you're looking at. But yeah, stunning sound and plays beautifully. Seems like the sympathetic resonance is indeed very much working out. It does definitely show itself in especially in certain places and certain transitions. And I like all of that, those qualities that bring that kind of rawness and realism into play. But I guess that's all I have to say about this. I guess nothing more comes to mind here. I'm sure many of you already have this, so let me know what you think. Let me know about your experiences with this, and of course also let me know what you think of this video. That's it for now. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Finished.